Hello everyone, it's Sal here. A very warm welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing well. If you're new here, then welcome. If you're a returning subscriber of mine, then welcome back and thank you so very much for all of your continued love and support. I really appreciate you. So today is going to be a really fun video. I'm going to be talking through my wish list with you guys. Some here I really want, others I'm not really sure, so I'm gonna need to like test a few, and I don't know if I'll be buying all of the ones on this list, you know, it might just be a couple, but anyway, these are the ones that I've got my eye on right now. And I'd very much love to hear your opinions, so throughout the video, if you hear me mention a fragrance that you know of, like if you own it or if you've tried it, I would very much appreciate it if you would leave your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know, based on my taste, whether you think I'd like it or not, whether you think it would like add something to my collection. Of course you don't have to, but it's just if you feel inclined to share your thoughts, I would really appreciate it, because obviously I'm trying to decide which ones out of this list to commit to, which ones to kind of just forget about, and things like that. So let's get started. Okay, so the first one on my list is Armani My Way. Now I actually have a little decant of this one. I was able to try it because the beautiful Chantel Tiffany sent me a decant. I actually have two decants from her, actually, two fragrances that are going to be on this wish list. And it's because of her basically that they're now on my wish list. I wouldn't have like known otherwise, so I really appreciate the fact that she sent me these. So the first one, Armani My Way. I've just gone and dropped one, haven't I? I'll get that later. So the first one, Armani My Way, you can see here I've used so much of this. This whole thing was full. So it was a lot of fragrance, but I'm down to like my last little bit of it, which I'm actually really surprised at, you guys. I didn't think that this was going to be a fragrance for me. When I first tried it, I actually did a full dedicated review on it, which you can watch if you're interested, but I did a review on this fragrance. It was kind of very much like a subjective review. I just explained what it smelled like. I wasn't completely bowled over by it at the time, and I think I had heard here and there that many folk had thought that it was maybe a bit generic, perhaps a bit boring, things like that. To be honest, I have to kind of disagree with those comments, because to an extent, yes, it's like quite a safe fragrance in the sense that it's fairly mass appealing, most likely. It's very pleasant, it's a very pretty smell, it's not challenging or anything like that. Is it groundbreaking? Probably not. But I really have been enjoying it. So the reason, like when I first tried this, I wasn't bowled over by it, and that's probably because at that point in time I wasn't really a huge fan of the note of tuberose. And in this fragrance, tuberose is one of the main things that I really detect. So it's a very voluptuous tuberose scent, with some sparkliness in the top notes. So it's quite, overall, quite a simple fragrance, but I really think that it's very effective in what it does. So it's a very beautiful, sweet, luscious, soft tuberose kind of fragrance. The orange blossom and the bergamot in the top notes definitely give it like some definition. They definitely make it a bit more structured, as opposed to just a full-on pure tuberose scent. So they give the tuberose like a slightly crisp edge. But on the whole, it's a very soft, very enveloping, feminine tuberose, beautiful, sweet scent, and I absolutely love it. I've been wearing it loads. I think it's just absolutely beautiful. As I showed you, I have like hardly any left, and it's quite unusual for me to really go through that much fragrance in such a short amount of time. It's really only been in the last week that I've used this much of it. And considering how many other fragrances I have in my collection, you know, that's quite a lot of one fragrance for me to use in such a short space of time, so I think that in itself says a lot. There's something slightly bubblegummy to it, and I think that just comes from the tuberose. I think tuberose, the nature of the scent of that flower, I think it can sometimes have that kind of smell about it, but I think it's just so feminine and pretty. It's the kind of thing that would just be an absolute pleasure to just smell on somebody. It's a pleasure to smell on yourself, of course. It's incredibly pleasing to the nose. It is not at all challenging, and it was actually this very perfume which has got me into the tuberose notes. So it's because of Armani My Way that I am now interested in other tuberose fragrances. So I really like this one, you guys. It's definitely on my wish list. Okay, next up is Scandale by Jean-Paul Gaultier. So the notes are blood orange, mandarin orange, honey, gardenia, orange blossom, jasmine, peach, beeswax, patchouli, caramel and licorice. And the main accords of Scandale are honey, sweet, white floral, citrus, patchouli, animalic, caramel, beeswax, floral and woody. Now this one, I haven't actually tried it before, but I've heard really good things about it. So this is more like, it's on my wish list, but I haven't actually tried it, but I'm pretty sure I will like it, if you know what I mean. I just love the whole concept of it. I love the name. I love the kind of idea of this scandalous scent. I just love that whole like concept of the fragrance. The bottle is really kind of fun with the legs flailing. I just think it's brilliant. And I like the idea of this prominent honey notes actually. I think that'll be really nice. The blood orange as well. I think that'll add something really beautiful, maybe slightly zingy and juicy perhaps. Jasmine and peach, which would be really interesting as well, and some kind of really rich notes in there as well, like your beeswax, your patchouli, caramel and licorice. So I can imagine this to be quite an intoxicating fragrance, and I love fragrances like that, you guys. I really do. And I've been kind of watching several different reviews on this fragrance and it just sounds really good. Okay, next up on my wish list, and this is probably higher up in priority over the original Scandale. I probably should have mentioned this one before Scandale, but oh well. So this is Scandal by Night, and this is the one that I think I want more than Scandale. I mean, I want both of them, but I feel like Scandal by Night is just going to be an amazing fragrance for me. So the notes of Scandal by Night are honey, orange, citruses, tuberose, cherry, orange blossom, pear, nord, Himalayan, which I really, for the life of me, I have no idea what that is, I'm sorry. And then in the base notes they have tonka bean, vanilla, patchouli, sandalwood, amberwood and white musk. So as you can probably guess from what I mentioned about tuberose, one of the main reasons that I'm interested in this one is because it has a nice note of tuberose in there, it has some cherry, it has a really rich sounding note profile basically, and I'm really intrigued by it. I actually watched this really fantastic comparison on YouTube between the original Scandale and Scandal by Night. Now I'm trying to remember the name of the YouTuber. I think her channel name was called Queen Cans, but I could be wrong. Anyway, I'll link the video in the description bar below. I would definitely recommend checking that video out if you're interested in hearing the differences between the two fragrances, because her descriptions were super in-depth and it really helped me kind of decide, you know, which one would be more for me. I do think I'll like both, but I think the Scandal by Night one, it sounds extremely intoxicating, extremely rich, enveloping, flirty, seductive, beautiful kind of fragrance basically, and I really love the sound of Scandal by Night. I just think it sounds amazing. Some of the main accords of Scandal by Night are sweet, honey, vanilla, white floral, woody, tuberose, cherry, amber and like warm spices and things like that. It just sounds absolutely heavenly, you guys. Please let me know in the comments if you have tried Scandal by Night. Even better if you've tried both the original and Scandal by Night. Let me know which one you think I'd prefer, or like which one you prefer. I'm super interested. It just sounds amazing, especially with that rich cherry note and like the tuberose and the honey as well. Like it just sounds so rich, it just sounds so like feminine and like heady. Yep, so the original Scandal and Scandal by Night. Scandal by Night more so though, like I'm more interested in that one. That's higher up on my wish list. But I still am very intrigued by both, and I think, you know, I have a feeling I might end up acquiring both, but I will think about it more. I'm not going to rush into purchasing any of these. I'm just basically thinking about it at the moment. So yeah, that's Scandal and Scandal by Night. Next up on my wish list is Lancome's Oud Bouquet. Now this fragrance, you guys, is basically good enough for royalty in my opinion. It's one of those amazing fragrances. Again, I was very, very lucky because Chantel sent me a sample of that one as well. This is amazing. This is an amazing, beautiful, luxurious, extravagant, beautiful fragrance, you guys. Oh my goodness. To me, there's something almost reminiscent of honey in here. It's so kind of sweet and rich and beautiful. It's almost like a honeyed rose encapsulated in a dripping like tree resin or something like that. It is utterly magical. Oh my gosh, every time I smell it, it's just an experience, you guys. Like, it's just an amazing fragrance. The main accords of Oud Bouquet are sweet, oud, rose, vanilla, amber, woody, lactonic, balsamic, nutty, and powdery. That's extremely interesting how they've got lactonic in there. It's not a description that I would have like thought to say about this one. I suppose it is slightly lactonic actually, maybe more so when it's been on your skin for a little bit longer perhaps. But it's an absolutely stunning fragrance. I absolutely love it. This is pretty much the only predominantly oudy fragrance which I found that I love. I know technically Delina exclusive has some oud in there, but it's barely detectable, you guys. But this is the first ever actual oud fragrance which I've smelt, and I thought, you know, I could wear that quite happily, because I've tried some oud fragrances like oud silk mood and satin mood and things like that, and some of the Montal oud fragrances as well, and they were all just a bit too much for me. Like, I don't know if I'm quite used to that oud note yet, and like they didn't quite sit well with me. Like, they just didn't feel like my personality, if you know what I mean. This one though, I feel like I could wear because it's very, very sweet. It's deep and it's rich, but there's something almost light-hearted about it. Like, it is a very, like, this could be absolutely incredible in a formal occasion, but I think because it is so saccharine sweet, there's something a tiny little bit playful about this, which makes it feel a little bit less intimidating to me basically than some of the other super fancy oud fragrances. So it is on my wish list. It's not going to be one that I'm going to purchase for a very long time probably. It's not one that I'm just going to like buy lightheartedly, you know, because it is fairly expensive. It's quite a big purchase in my opinion. And I've still got some of my little sample left. Yeah, I've got quite a lot of this one left to try, and I'm definitely gonna like finish this completely before I go making any big decisions on that. But it is definitely on my radar. I'm very intrigued by it, and it's on my wish list. Next up is a fragrance which I have not yet tried, but I keep hearing it mentioned, and I just have a feeling. I have a feeling that it might be for me, and it is a Chanel fragrance. I do not own any from Chanel. I've tried a few and they just weren't quite for me. Chanel is a house, like, I just haven't been blown away by their perfumery at all. Like, I've not found any from Chanel that I actually like. I have personally tried Coco Noir and I've tried Coco Mademoiselle, and I personally, all I could smell with those ones were a combination of rose and a very sharp screechiness, which I don't know if that's the patchouli, I don't know what it is, but there was a very annoying screechiness that they had. I was extremely shocked actually. I thought that they would be fragrances that I would just be blown away by, you know, because they're so popular and it's Chanel and it's like quite a prestigious house, and you would assume, you know, that all of their fragrances would be like amazing. So something about them either reacted very badly to my skin and it just smelled bad, or you know how you can smell something and the first impression is bad but then you give it another chance and then it's better. It might be one of those scenarios, I don't know, but they just weren't for me. So I haven't found any Chanel fragrances for me. However, the fragrance Chance Au Tendre sounds like it would actually be very nice. So the notes of Chance Au Tendre are quince, grapefruit, hyacinth, jasmine, musk, iris, cedar, and amber. Now, there's a few things that I like the sound of in this note composition. I like the sound of the quince. That sounds like a really unusual fruity note. With the grapefruit as well, so I'm imagining a very sharp, like slightly bracing, refreshing opening to this fragrance, like a slightly fruity but quite tart perhaps, like quite zingy opening. That's what I'm imagining anyway from those notes. Hyacinth, I have no idea what that one smells like, what that Floral note is like jasmine. I love jasmine. Musk can be okay for me as long as it's not too strong. Iris is something that I really like, so if the iris note in here is giving it maybe a slight kind of powderiness or something like that, I would really appreciate that. And cedar and amber. That sounds like it would have quite a nice dry down perhaps. And the main accords of this fragrance are floral, fruity, citrus, sweet, fresh, spicy, powdery, white floral, musky, green and iris. And again, that kind of sounds up my street. That certainly sounds like something I would like. I mean, the first two in that list is floral and fruity, and you can't go far wrong with that, really, can you? Then citrus and sweet, so the fact that they've mentioned sweets in there, and I do quite like my sweet fragrances. And further down it's saying that there's elements of green notes and the iris as well. And more recently I've been much more into my like green notes, and basically ever since I discovered Mugler Aura and Aura Eau Sensuelle, it's because of those fragrances that I now am open to green notes. I never used to be at all, but they have like sort of changed my mind on that a little bit. And also Marc Jacobs Decadence, that's another one with prominent green notes, which I really enjoy. So I have a feeling that I might like this fragrance. Again, if you've tried it and you know, if my descriptions of what I think it will be like, if they're totally off and you actually know what this fragrance smells like, please let me know in the comments. I might be way off with this one. But just let me know what you think of this fragrance if you've tried it. I know that it comes in the Eau de Toilette and Eau de Parfum concentration, and I would be much more inclined to go for the Eau de Parfum. However, again, maybe if you guys have experience with them, you would know which one you prefer. So that is Chanel Chance Eau Tendre that is kind of on my radar at the moment, and it sounds like it might be quite nice. Next up on my wish list is Valentino Donna Born in Roma. So I had seen this fragrance here and there. I really liked the look of the bottle. It's really beautiful, the kind of studded effect glass and the gorgeous pink juice inside. I never really knew much about how it smelled until I heard Moon Perfumes mention it on her channel. She gave a very beautiful description of this fragrance. I'll just go through some of the notes here. So we have blackcurrant, pink pepper, bergamot, jasmine sambac, jasmine and jasmine tea. So 3 variants of jasmine, which is very exciting. And then in the base notes we have bourbon vanilla, cashmeran and gaiac wood. So that sounds right up my street for a few reasons. I've heard that it's quite a sweet fragrance in general. I love jasmine. I think it's an extremely beautiful, feminine and alluring note. So please let me know in the comments if you've tried that fragrance. I do think it's one that I would feel relatively safe just blind buying, because I feel like it's going to be a very pleasing smell. I can't really see how I could go wrong with that one, to be honest. So it sounds to me like it might be quite a sweet, juicy, fruity floral fragrance. It's one that I do think I'll really like, and I'm quite excited about that one. I do think, yeah, at some point I might be blind buying it, I'm not sure, but it's on my wish list anyway. So that is Valentino Donna Born in Roma. And last up on my wish list today is Parfum de Marly Sedbury. So this is one that I was actually so close to just blind buying. Seriously, I had it in my basket, I was about to check out, I really just wanted to buy it. This was like last month or something like that. But I just decided not to be silly, because it could have either gone very well for me, or it could be a complete disaster. And for me, I could never blind buy a Parfum de Marly fragrance. Like, I just could never do that. I would have to find some way of sampling it first. Like, there's some fragrances, you know, if a fragrance is under £100 and I am like really confident that I will like it, then yes, I will blind buy. But if it's like in that sort of price range and I have too much uncertainty, then there's absolutely no way I would blind buy a fragrance like that. I just couldn't do it. I would be kicking myself too much, you know, if it didn't work out, and it would be only myself to blame, so I just couldn't do that really. So the notes of Sedbury are clary sage, lavender, tangerine, bergamot, tuberose, jasmine, iris, benzoin, vanilla, ambergris, vetiver and patchouli. So there are notes in here that I get very excited about, like the tuberose obviously, the lavender might be quite nice, jasmine and iris and vanilla, all, you know, green ticks for sure. However, there's some notes in there and I'm kind of like, oh no, that could be the thing that ruins it for me. So for example, the vetiver, maybe the ambergris if it's too strong perhaps, but certainly the vetiver is something which kind of had alarm bells ringing for me. I thought, you know, I really don't like that note. For me it comes off a bit too masculine, I'm just not a fan of it at all. It kind of, that's the note that I really didn't like in Jean Paul Gaultier La Belle, for example. I just don't like that note. So I kind of thought, you know what, it would just be ridiculous me blind buying a fragrance that has a note in it that I know that I don't like. Anyway, so the main accords of this fragrance, you have white floral, amber, tuberose, aromatic, vanilla, animalic, lavender, citrus, warm spicy and woody. I know in one of my videos, one of my wonderful subscribers, Joanna, she left a very detailed comment actually giving me some advice about Sedbury, because it's a fragrance that she owns, and she described it in quite a lot of detail for me, and I really, really appreciated that. Actually, that was extremely helpful, Joanna. So yeah, I mean, this is a fragrance that I'm really, really intrigued by, just because it has a lot of those lovely white florals. It has the tuberose in it, which I'm really hoping that it would be a very soft, kind of voluptuous tuberose notes in there, something very, very feminine. I really, really like the sound of it, basically. I have heard that this is quite a mature smelling fragrance, which I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind if it smelled a bit mature, but if it was like overly so, then, you know, it might not be to my liking. But yeah, it's one that I'm really, really on the fence about. Like, part of me just wants to buy it and find out, and part of me thinks, oh no, I would hate it. Like, I have no idea, basically. But yeah, so that's my wish list, you guys. Please let me know in the comments what you think of it, what's on your wish list. Let me know in the comments how your year is going with regards to your purchasing. Have you bought many fragrances this year, or are you really deciding like to hold off a little bit? Just let me know. Also let me know just how your week's going. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate you, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye.